Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and give you the essential current affairs, really tailored for your UPSC preparation.
That's right.
Today, we're diving into the key developments from July 24th, 2025. This is part one.
And our mission, like always, is to take all this complex information, from various sources.
Right.
And break it down, make it digestible, relevant, and help you connect the dots.
Exactly. Helping you understand the why behind the headlines, prepare effectively. And look, some of these topics might be useful revision for your ongoing studies, while others, well, they'll bring some fresh critical insights you'll want to know.
And that's the aim, a clearer understanding of not just what's happening, but why it matters, how these events impact India, the world. Think of this as your shortcut, really, to being genuinely well-informed.
Okay, let's get started. Our first topic takes us way up north. Back in February 2025, Svalbard, that's an Arctic archipelago, saw some incredibly high temperatures. Rainfall, too.
Yeah, leading to widespread snowmelt. And this isn't just some, freak weather event.
No.
It points to something much bigger, a global phenomenon.
Which is?
Well, what's fascinating is how this highlights Arctic amplification. It's a critical process.
Okay, Arctic amplification. Define that for us.
Simply put, it means the Arctic region is warming much, much faster than the rest of the planet.
Right. Disproportionately faster.
Exactly. And it's a direct result of human-caused global warming. It has these huge, far-reaching effects.
So what's driving this? Why is the Arctic warming so much faster?
Well, there are a few key things working together. First, think about reduced albedo.
Albedo. That's reflectivity, right?
Precisely. Ice and snow are bright, highly reflective. They bounce sunlight back into space.
Okay.
But when they melt, they expose darker ocean water or land. Dark surfaces absorb more solar energy.
So it heats up faster, melts more ice?
Exactly. It's a classic warming feedback loop. Very powerful.
Okay, what else?
Then there's something called lapse rate feedback. In the Arctic, the warming from greenhouse gases tends to get trapped, concentrated near the surface.
Unlike the tropics.
Right. In the tropics, heat spreads more vertically through convection. But in the Arctic, this surface concentration intensifies the warming right there.
I see.
We also have the water vapor triple effect. Water vapor itself is a potent greenhouse gas.
Okay.
Plus, more water vapor means more clouds, which can trap heat. And when water vapor condenses, it releases heat. So it's a triple whammy, really.
Wow. And you mentioned one more.
Yes, increased atmospheric heat transport. Basically, more moisture evaporating from the warmer tropics means more heat gets carried towards the Arctic by atmospheric circulation.
So it sounds like a really complex interplay of factors. But let's bring it closer to home. What does all this mean for us, especially here in India, thousands of miles away?
The connections are profound, actually, and quite direct in some ways. Firstly, Arctic amplification speeds up overall global warming.
How so?
Because as the permafrost thaws, that's permanently frozen ground, it releases huge amounts of CO2 and methane.
Right. Greenhouse gases trapped for centuries.
Exactly. Gases from ancient organic carbon. Plus, there are big ecological changes happening there. Winter warming and rain can remove the insulating snow cover.
Yeah.
Exposing tundra plants and soil microbes to really harsh temperature swings.
But the India connection, you said it was direct.
Yes. Critically, declining Arctic sea ice has been strongly linked to changes in the Indian monsoon.
Really? How?
It seems to correlate with stronger but also more erratic monsoons, leading to more extreme rainfall events. Think intense, sudden downpours, major flooding.
That's huge, affecting agriculture, water resources.
Absolutely. And then there's sea level rise. Melting ice sheets and glaciers, thermal expansion of water, it all contributes. This directly threatens our coastal cities, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai.
And risks saltwater intrusion into farmland near the coasts.
Precisely. Salinization of agricultural areas. So
Wow.
ultimately, you're looking at increased economic and social risks, crop losses, health impacts, damage to infrastructure. It all adds up.
It really drives home how interconnected our planet is. What happens in the Arctic? Well, it definitely doesn't stay in the Arctic. Understanding these shifts is vital, especially if you're studying global dynamics, national policy.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, let's pivot now. From environmental science to global diplomacy, a pretty major development here. The U.S. has decided to pull out of UNESCO again.
Yes, that's a significant move. The stated reasons focus on what the U.S. calls the agency's support for woke and divisive causes, and also an anti-Israel bias.
And this isn't the first time, is it?
No, not at all. This is actually the third time the U.S. has exited UNESCO, and the second time under the current leadership.
part of a pattern.
It seems to be. We've seen similar actions like moves to withdraw from the World Health Organization, the WHO, and also cuts in funding to UNRWA, the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees.
So what are the likely consequences? What's the ripple effect when a major player like the U.S. steps back like this?
Well, there are several layers. First, the immediate budgetary impact. The U.S. contributes nearly 8% of UNESCO's total budget.
That's a big hole to fill.
It is. Creates a substantial financial challenge for the organization. But beyond money, there's the geopolitical impact.
Go on.
Their withdrawal could create a vacuum, potentially allowing other powers, perhaps China in particular, to increase their influence within UNESCO.
Interesting. Shifting dynamics.
Exactly. And then there's the broader impact on multilateralism. Pulling out of a major UN body like this can, potentially weaken trust in international institutions overall. It might signal a retreat from global cooperation.
Right. For listeners who might not be fully familiar, could you just give a quick snapshot of UNESCO? What's its main role?
Sure. UNESCO is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. It's a specialized UN agency based in Paris.
Okay.
It currently has 194 member states and 12 associate members. Its core mission is to build peace and security by fostering international collaboration through education, science, and culture.
And some well-known initiatives.
Oh, yes. Most people know the UNESCO World Heritage Sites program, but they also produce key reports like the Global Education Monitoring Report and run programs like the Man and the Biosphere Program, MAB.
Got it. So understanding these shifts, these withdrawals, and their impacts is really key to grasping global power plays and the future challenges for international cooperation, especially relevant for India's place in all this. Okay, let's bring our focus back home now to an issue that touches many lives right here in India. The Supreme Court has made some observations on managing, the ethical divide over stray dogs.
Yes, a very complex and often emotionally charged issue.
Definitely.
The Supreme Court recently observed that citizens who want to feed stray dogs should perhaps consider doing it inside their own homes.
Why that specific suggestion?
It seems to highlight a tricky balance. On one hand, the law does provide protection for street dogs. On the other, authorities need to address the genuine concerns people have about, say, their safety or movement being restricted due to fear of dog attacks.
Right. It brings up some deep ethical questions.
It really does. You have this tension between compassion versus public order. Many people feel a strong sense of compassion and want to feed strays.
Sure.
But others argue that this can lead to dogs becoming territorial, aggressive, or causing a nuisance in public spaces.
And then there's safety.
Exactly. Animal welfare versus public safety. Dogs certainly have a right to life and dignity, but communities also have a right to be safe from dog bites and the risk of rabies.
And the numbers on dog bites are concerning.
They are. The National Center for Disease Control, the NCDC, reported over 37 lakh, that's 3.7 million dog bite cases in India in 2024 alone.
Wow, that's a huge number.
It is. Then there's the issue of ecological carrying capacity versus population control. Some argue human feeding artificially inflates the stray population beyond what the urban environment can handle.
But controlling the population raises its own ethical questions about methods used.
Absolutely. And finally, you can look at it through philosophical lenses like utilitarianism versus a deontological approach. Sometimes the practical bond, the utility of having a pet, weakens, leading to abandonment.
Right.
Whereas a deontological view emphasizes our inherent duties and responsibilities towards these animals once they're part of our environment.
So this isn't just about feelings, it's a serious policy challenge.
Yeah.
What's the legal framework around this in India?
We actually have quite a few provisions. The Constitution itself plays a part. Article 243W gives municipalities the responsibility for things like controlling stray populations.
Okay.
And Article 51AG lists having compassion for living creatures as a fundamental duty for citizens.
Interesting juxtaposition there.
It is. Then we have specific rules. The Animal Birth Control, or ABC rules from 2023 under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act of 1960, aim to control the population humanely through sterilization and manage rabies through vaccination.
And do they mention feeding?
Yes, they do. The rules also address the feeding of community animals, assigning responsibility to resident welfare associations, RWAs, or local bodies to designate feeding spots, for instance.
And court ruling.
Key court judgments have also shaped this. Notably, the Supreme Court in the Jallikattu case back in 2014 interpreted Article 21, the right to life and liberty, as extending to animals as well.
That's a significant interpretation. Now, staying within India, but broadening the scope, from the ethics of our immediate surroundings to the huge challenges facing our cities. We have some important insights on building resilient and green urban infrastructure.
Yes, this comes from a recent World Bank report towards resilient and prosperous cities in India. And the numbers are staggering.
How staggering.
They estimate India needs about $2.4 trillion in total investment by 2050 just for new, resilient, and green urban infrastructure and services.
$2.4 trillion. That really puts the scale into perspective.
It absolutely does. And consider India's urban landscape. Back in 2020, over a third of our population, around 480 million people, lived in urban areas.
And growing fast.
Incredibly fast. But here's a worrying trend. Expansion in unsafe areas. Between 1985 and 2015, settlement in high flood risk zones grew by 102%.
So more people moving into riskier places.
Exactly. And the projections. The urban population is likely to double to around 951 million by 2050.
Wow. And cities are driving the economy too, right?
Massively. By 2030, cities are expected to create 70% of new jobs. And by 2050, contribute 75% to our GDP.
So with this massive growth and existing vulnerabilities, what are the specific climate risks our cities are facing? And how do we build that resilience the report talks about?
The risks are serious and escalating. Flooding is a huge one. The report forecasts a potential increase in the risk of pluvial flooding, that's surface water flooding from heavy rain, by 3.6 to 7 times by 2070.
Why such a big increase?
It's a combination of more uncertain, intense rainfall patterns due to climate change, plus the spread of concrete and paved surfaces, impervious surfaces that prevent water from soaking in.
Makes sense. What else?
Extreme heat. This is another major threat. By 2050, estimates suggest a fifth of all working hours in major Indian cities could be under high heat stress conditions, affecting productivity, health.
So what's the plan? How do we make cities more resilient?
The report outlines a city climate action plan approach. Key elements include robust climate and disaster risk assessment at the local level.
Okay.
This means developing hazard-specific investment plans, integrating risk info into land use planning. Crucially, we need to prioritize the more vulnerable, support informal settlements, identify residents most at risk.
In new development.
We need to invest in green city expansion. That means promoting compact cities through things like transit-oriented development, pushing for energy-efficient technologies like LEDs, and critically, forbidding construction in known risk-prone areas.
That's logical.
And ensuring efficient, resilient, and green municipal services is key. Analyzing the water sector for energy savings, investing in better low-carbon solid waste management, or SWM.
Any other points?
Yes. Things like making sure new urban development is climate sensitive from the start, and facilitating the private sector's role in, say, risk transfer mechanisms like insurance and building resilience.
It's clear this is a multifaceted challenge, needing strategic, long-term thinking for India's urban future. Definitely a key area for you to understand. All right, shifting gears now to the economy. And this is quite a positive story, actually. There's been a significant surge in intellectual property IP filings in India.
Yes, a really remarkable trend. The Minister of State for Commerce and Industry recently shared some data in the Lok Sabha. Get this. A 380% increase in geographical indications, GI, filings.
380%. That's huge for GIs.
It is. And it's followed by strong growth in filings for designs, patents, copyright, and trademarks as well. Overall, IP filings have jumped by 44% in just the last 5 years.
Wow. What's behind this surge?
It seems to be largely driven by strategic reforms. The government has actively worked to enhance IP activities, foster innovation, and generally make it easier and more attractive to file for IP protection.
Okay, so what specific initiatives are we talking about? What's the government actually done?
Quite a few things. On the procedural reform side, they've set clear timelines for granting patents, which speeds things up. And they've drastically simplified trademark registration, cutting the number of forms needed from 74 down to just 8.
That makes a difference.
Definitely. Then there are major fee concessions. An 80% fee reduction on patents for startups, MSMEs, and educational institutions.
80%?
Yes. And a 75% fee reduction on designs for startups and MSMEs. This makes it much more affordable for smaller players and innovators.
Good move. What about technology?
Digitalization has been key. There's an IP dashboard providing real-time data, and they've introduced AI-powered technology for trademark searches, making the examination process more efficient.
Smart. Any specific programs?
Yes, several programs and schemes, like the National Intellectual Property Awareness Mission and IPAM to raise awareness. There's an IPR internship program. And the Startups Intellectual Property Protection, or SIPP scheme, Plus, national IP awards to recognize achievements.
Okay, a multi-pronged approach.
Indeed. And finally, aligning with international standards. India adopted the International Classification System under the Locarno Agreement for Industrial Designs.
The Locarno Agreement.
Yes, it's an international treaty managed by WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization, signed back in 1968. Adopting it helps streamline things internationally. All these steps together have really boosted the IT ecosystem.
Very encouraging news on the innovation front. Okay, and now, just to make sure you're completely up to speed, let's do a quick roundup of some other important updates, things that were also in news recently. These are crucial nuggets for your preparation.
All right, first up, the Financial Inclusion Index, FI Index from the RBI. The latest figures show growth reaching 67 in FY25, up from 64.2 last year.
So, more financial inclusion.
Yes, growth across all segments, banking, insurance, investments, etc. It seems driven by increased usage and better quality of services. It's published annually in July, ranges from 0 to 100, based on access, usage, and quality parameters. No base year, importantly.
Got it. Next.
The Great Ruaha River in Tanzania. Sadly, it's drying up due to climate change and also mismanagement. It's a major river there, a tributary of the Rufiji River, and the main water source for the Ruaha National Park.
A worrying sign of climate impact.
Okay. Then, Article 143 of the Indian Constitution, the Supreme Court issued notices on a presidential reference about the powers of the president and governor regarding state bills.
Ah, the advisory jurisdiction.
Exactly. Article 143(1) allows the president to ask the Supreme Court for an advisory opinion on important questions of law or fact. This opinion isn't binding on the president, though.
Right. What else?
The Madhe Mahadai River dispute. Goa is considering going back to the Supreme Court over Karnataka's Kalasa Banduri project, which aims to divert water from Madai tributary.
Where does this river flow?
It originates in Karnataka's Western Ghats, flows through Goa and Maharashtra, and empties into the Arabian Sea, a transboundary river issue.
Okay. Place in news.
Vanuatu, the Pacific island nation. They've approached the International Court of Justice asking for environmental destruction to be classified legally as ecocide.
Ecocide. That's significant.
It is, pushing the boundaries of international environmental law. Vanuatu itself is an archipelago in the South Pacific, part of Melanesia, volcanic origin.
Interesting. Keep going.
The Winter Fog Experiment, WIFEX. It just completed 10 years of research into North India's dense winter fog. It's one of the few long-term field experiments globally focused just on fog.
Who runs it?
Led by the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. The goal is better forecasting of winter fog.
Very practical research.
Next, Section 498A of the IPC, Indian Penal Code. The Supreme Court ordered the implementation of guidelines from the Allahabad High Court from 2022. These restrain police from immediate arrest during a 2-month cooling period in matrimonial cruelty cases under this section.
The aim being?
To potentially prevent misuse while still protecting women from cruelty by husbands or relatives. Section 498A carries a penalty of up to 3 years jail plus fine. It's cognizable and non-bailable. Similar provisions exist in the new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023 under Section 85.
A delicate balancing act there. 2 more.
Biostimulants. The Union Agriculture Minister urged states to stop the mandatory tagging or bundling of biostimulants with fertilizers.
What are biostimulants exactly?
They're substances that stimulate natural processes in plants to enhance nutrient uptake, efficiency, stress tolerance, or crop quality. They are regulated under the Fertilizer Control Order of 1985.
Okay, interesting distinction. And the last one.
The Chola Gangam Lake. The Tamil Nadu government has announced development plans for it. It's also called Punari, meaning Golden Lake.
An ancient lake.
Very ancient. Built by the great Chola king Rajendra Chola Sankarapalli in his capital, Gange Kondacholapuram. It was built to commemorate his victories in North India, reaching the Ganges. Historical texts, like the Tiruvalangadu copper plates, apparently called it the Liquid Pillar of Victory.
Wow, Liquid Pillar of Victory. What a name. Thanks for that rapid round. Phew. That was quite a bit to cover, wasn't it? From global climate shifts and geopolitics to pressing domestic issues, ethical dilemmas, and economic innovation.
We're real mixed today.
We hope this deep dive has given you that essential shortcut, helping you feel well-informed and, crucially, helping you connect these seemingly disparate pieces into a more cohesive understanding.
And maybe it raises a question for you to reflect on. As we navigate this world full of complex, interconnected challenges like the Arctic changes affecting our monsoons or balancing rights in our cities, How can we, as informed citizens, as potential future administrators or policymakers, move beyond just absorbing information? How do we critically analyze it to actually contribute to meaningful solutions, whether that's for global issues or things right here in our local communities?
That's a great thought to leave our listeners with. The journey to being truly informed and making a difference is definitely ongoing. If you found this deep dive valuable today, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the show.
It helps us keep bringing you these insights.
Absolutely. We're here to help you get smarter, faster for your UPSC journey. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be back soon with more essential insights.